Hello, I hope you are doing great. Today I want to show you a little bit of the code for a small tool I created oriented to be able to find possible fake followers in your Twitter account. Um, Before continue, please remember subscribe to the channel and share the channel so I can get more subscribers and I can continue making more videos for you. Also go to the description, there are the links to the pages, and you have the website, you have some links, and you have the customer finder, you have PTI website, and you have my links. In case you want my services, you can contact me through my LinkedIn profile. Okay, so continue. Basically, this application is divided in a couple of projects. Um, it's a services project where we have the base services for consuming the Twitter API, taking advantage of Link to Twitter, which is a great library created by Joe Mayo. If that's how you pronounce it. I actually don't know how you pronounce it. Uh, we also have the background services, which is a background hosted service or a background service in .NET Core, which has all of the logic to be able to scan for the possible fake users from the web application by using a background service. That service actually retrieves list, it handles some events, so as soon as a new possible fake account is found, it notifies the main um, the main process to add that to a list and add that information to the update the information in the memory cache, so the user actually does not have to wait for the whole process to finish, because scanning your follower list, especially when you have to analyze some of the tweets, that's going to take some time, and Twitter has some API limits, so you need to wait like 40 minutes, something like that, every certain amount of time, depending on the queries that you actually perform. Okay, so let's go to the Twitter services. So we have here some configurations, some enumerations, some models, and the services folder. In the services folder, we have the base Twitter service, and this base Twitter service basically has the base functionality, and it's configured to support retry operations in case of failure. So what we have there just is default constructor to create a single analyzer and to be able to use the Twitter context authorized with the Twitter application that we have developed. Here we have the method to get the tweets by user ID, and you see that we get the user ID, we get the maximum amount of tweets we are going to return, and where we want to start from, so we can iterate through several users, several tweets, I'm sorry. Okay, the default is 1, so it gets pretty much everything. I believe it actually returns the last 20 by default. Well, in this case I set it to 10, but yeah, it will get the last 10. So in case this fails, well, in this case I didn't add the retry to this method because I am not using it in the main application. But this one I am actually using it. You will see that this changes a little bit because now I have a do while statement in here with a flag stop. So basically what we do is the same process. The only difference is that this one compares by a screen name instead of username. If this fails, well, I have duplicated this line by mistake, but if this fails, we log the exception if the logger exists, and if the retry on failure is enabled and we haven't reached the maximum amount of retries that we configured, we increment the current retries and we await for the specified rate limit. This currently is assuming that the exception is being caused by the rate limit, because when you try currently when you try to execute some of these statements and there is a rate limit, the the Twitter library will throw an exception, so you capture it and you evaluate it. Now you probably have to inspect the message to be sure that the exception was caused by a Twitter API limit. Otherwise, and in that case we wait, otherwise we should fail the process completely. Okay, so it does that retry and then returns the information. And we have the methods to get the user information by username, the method to get followers by username async, and you will see that it actually returns a cursor, and this basically is set up so you can start getting the information or the followers information from a specified follower. So this cursor is basically the way that the Twitter library implements paging. So if we receive the cursor, we basically add that to the query and then we execute it. And we also have the retry logic in here and then return the followers. This is the evaluative rate limit async. Basically what we need to do is rate limit is actually in epoch seconds, I believe, and we need to convert it to milliseconds. This function was actually created like years ago, so I haven't updated, but I saw that recently in one of the latest versions of the framework, you can actually convert directly from the epoch time. You can convert it to a date time instead of having to do the this logic. But yeah, this is pretty much a function that I have implemented for other applications using this library, and I did it years ago, so I haven't really updated. Okay. Now if we go back, you will see that we have here another service. This service makes use of the base Twitter service and it doesn't inherit it, so you have to rely on the actual methods of the base Twitter service and still have a good separation of functionality. Basically you'll need to access the get statements, the get tweets, and the get user information from the base Twitter service instead of from the base class, because I purposely avoided adding a base class to this one. So this is only concerned to fake followers, and it doesn't have any functionality to retrieve like the basic operations to get users information and get tweets. You have to do it through the actual base Twitter service. Okay, so the get all possible fake followers for username basically takes a username, it takes an action. This action is basically the action that is going to be executed, or you want to be executed once a new possible fake follower has been detected, and that is the parameter and the action that you can take advantage of, so you don't have to wait for the whole process to finish retrieving all of your followers information, because that could take a while. So basically, if this is not null, you will see that in here we are evaluating, we create another action, so you will see that in here, well, we get list of followers, this get the first page of followers, then if there is data, we get the cursor information, we iterate through all of the users that, or the followers that we found, and we evaluate if it is a possible fake follower. If it is a possible fake follower, we basically invoke this action on possible fake follower action. This on possible fake follower action, what it does is basically creates a new possible fake user. It gets this information, it gets it, set it to the reasons, it add it to a list, and then if the parameter is not null, we invoke it with the new possible fake user, and this list is actually the one which is going to be returned when the whole process finishes. This other part is basically the second part of the process to get the other pages in case the cursor is not null and there is more data. We need to keep getting the rest of the pages, followers pages. The evaluate if possible fake follower is just a simple function. It invokes the get possible fake reasons, and this is also a simple function. So some of the common signs or hints of possible fake accounts in Twitter are long time for the user not having original tweets for a long time. So basically the user has had a lot of retweets but does not have tweets from own tweets. Also, the users which have empty description, they don't have bio description. Users that do not have a profile image, and also the followers offset. Twitter actually on purposely added some rules on how many users you can follow depending on the users that have been followed you. So there are some things. So basically what I did is, if your follower offset is not of at least a 40% of your total following, this account will be marked as a possible fake user by using the invalid followers offset. This is actually a list of enumerations, and this enumeration has several things. Here we add in, for example, the time since original retweet, if it's greater than 15 days, and you have at least, and this user has at least 8 months of being created. We add that as a warning that this is a long time with original tweets. So yeah, that's the sample application. You will see also that this application actually has a web part. You will see that here in the Twitter services web, you will see the client, server, and share. This is Blazor WebAssembly in .NET 5, and it has a page displaying the possible fake users, and this is just a simple HTML using Bootstrap to show the data and the list to show the reasons. There's nothing really complicated there, just a sample application to do that. So that's something I wanted to show you. Uh, you can see the repository. The repository is in there, in this link. If you want to use it, the development branch is the one who is always going to have the latest code. And if you want to collaborate, you are actually welcome to collaborate. You just let me know what you like to do. Remember, please share the channel, share the videos, like them, so we can keep growing and I can keep making more good videos for you. Have a great day. Thank you very much.